follow the stories and bring you the report from anywhere to everywhere. Either global, foreign, or diplomatic relations, even diaspora matter. And we bring you the behind the scene of the stories through our studio analysis. This hand that has represented the symbol of unity after the war in Rwanda.
Good and efficient legal process is one of the main things that we realize leads to the breaches of human rights in Nigeria.
My assessment of the war in Ukraine is very unfortunate.
Attack on the Israeli government, an attack on the Israeli soldiers by Hamas, by the jihadist group,
by the occupier,
and other terrorists.
by the people. No.
That will bring you all here on Global Matter.
Good and so many great tourist spots. People just don't know yet. So we are ready for the hosted the Busan World Expo. It's time to introduce the world about our beauty of the Busan. Korean War in the 1950 to 1953, but Busan was the only city never been attacked by North Korean soldier during the Korean War. So that's why during this time, so many refugees, they coming down. The war refugee, they coming down to Busan to survive. And Busan city is made by the so many background of the refugees and Korean War and provisional capital. So I think this is a unique history about the Busan. Korea Peninsula is surrounded by three different sides of the ocean: East Ocean, South Ocean, and three different the ocean from the East Sea, South Sea, and West Sea. But in Busan, we are between the East and South Sea. I think this is the specialty of the Busan locations.
대한민국 최초로 시도하는 항만 재개발을 통해 다시 한번 대한민국의 대전환을 이루어가고 있습니다. 1차적으로 내년에 완공되는 복합문화지구와 2030년을 목표로 진행 중인 엑스포 전시회장 조성으로 새롭게 변화하는 부산 북한. 이제 세계 박람회 유치를 통해 더 나은 미래를 준비하려 합니다. 지금 보시는 것이 바로 2030 엑스포 개최 후보지의 모습입니다. 북한 재개발 지역 전체를 포함하면 343만 제곱미터 면적으로 축구장 480개 넓이에 달합니다. 현재까지 진행된 복합문화지구 재개발을 통해 오페라하우스와 편의시설이 들어설 부지 조성과 도로, 공원 등의 공사가 완료된 상태이며 해당 구역은 엑스포 개최 시 무료로 운영됩니다. 이어서 앞으로 진행할 전시회장 조성 공사를 통해 광장, 녹지 등 친수 공간을 비롯해 박람회장과 각종 지원 시설을 건설할 계획입니다. 그렇다면 2030 부산 엑스포의 박람회장은 어떤 모습일까요? 박람회장의 전체적인 구조는 진입광장에서 전시 클러스터를 거쳐 주제관까지 자연스럽게 이어지는 동선으로 구성됩니다. 전시 공간은 참가자 전시관과 트랜스포메이션 스퀘어 두 가지로 구분됩니다. 참가자 전시관은 박람회를 대표하는 전시 공간으로 세 가지 유형의 파빌리온으로 제공되며 이 중 주요 상징시설인 한국관은 세계 대전환 더 나은 미래를 향한 항해라는 박람회의 주제를 기록하고 보존합니다. 트랜스포메이션 스퀘어는 클러스터 내 참가자 전시관 사이에 위치하는 광장으로 참가자들에게 교류와 협력의 장이 될 것입니다. 2030 부산 엑스포를 대표하는 주요 상징시설들을 좀 더 살펴볼까요? 엑스포 빅데이터 사일로는 BI 100년의 역사를 담아 더 나은 미래를 위한 아카이브로 활용할 예정이며 ODA 기념관은 수원국에서 공여국이 된 대한민국이 공동번영의 뜻을 되새기고자 마련한 시설입니다. 그리고 세계평화관은 한국전쟁 발발 80주년을 기념해 민주, 자유, 평화, 인권 등의 인류 보편적 가치를 기리는 공간이 될 것입니다. 2030 부산 엑스포의 이벤트 공간에서는 다채롭고 풍성한 문화 프로그램이 진행됩니다. 특히 엑스포홀에서는 각 참가국의 국가의 날 공식 행사가 열립니다. 또한 박람회장 곳곳에는 플로팅 파크, 워터프론트, 인피니티 오션, 엑스포 파크 등의 친수 공간이 마련되어 해양도시의 아름다움을 생사하고, 박람회장 앞바다에서는 부산불꽃 축제가 화려하게 펼쳐질 것입니다. 그 밖에도 VIP 숙소인 엑스포 빌리지를 비롯해 다양한 상업, 편의시설과 행사지원시설까지 쾌적하고 편안하게 박람회를 즐길 수 있도록 효율적으로 배치했습니다. 대한민국 부산은 2030 부산 세계박람회를 위한 실천적 노력을 이미 시작했습니다. 이것은 생존을 위협받는 해안 지역의 기후난민을 위한 세계 최초의 해상도시입니다. 해수면 상승과 기후변화에 대한 해결책으로 UN 해비타트와 같이 추진 중인 이 미래도시 모델은 자연, 기술, 인간이 조화를 이루는 지속 가능한 세상에 대한 우리의 의지를 표현합니다.
So you are from this town. So talk to me about what makes this town very unique. What is special about this town?
So I think Busan is the only city never been attacked by a North Korean soldier during the Korean War. So this is very unique history in Korea, and that's why we have so many unique culture our own. So people they are very strong and survivor, and they're very kind. And food, so we have own our food culture, and this city is surrounded by a beautiful nature.
I can see beautiful nature, ocean, yeah,
and the mountains. So there are so many great spots to visit. So I think this is the very. That's why I can say that Busan is the very beautiful city with the beautiful ocean and mountain view, and so many attractions and food. So perfect combination for the tourist.
Busan, how big is this country?
So, I mean, we are saying that Busan is the second largest city in Korea because we have a Seoul, which is our capital. But the Busan is big enough, so we are the next biggest city after the Seoul, our capital. So we have the biggest city means not only the size, so I mean the infra. So we have a good transportation, the airport, but still with the beautiful the nature. So we are living, and combined this all together. It's really,
I mean, I see the beauty of the nature that you got in there. I mean, you can see the ocean, you can see the fish, you can see the nature. Is this why you want to bring people from all around the world to come and see the beauty of Busan, the nature, the technology, the high-rising buildings, all those things that are very unusual in many other countries?
So I think Busan is the very big city, but with the beautiful ocean. So this is a unique thing. This is the enough region to people visit Busan. So yeah, so if they come to the Busan, they can see the our beauty of the Busan and our culture and our people. So
This ocean remains one of the biggest natural beauty you will find in Busan. It's a city built around water. It's a city. Busan is a city built around ocean. Seafood is part of their delicacies. And when you come to Busan, you can actually be guaranteed that nature is what you will enjoy. Security is perfect. Technology, undoubtedly one of the best in the world. South Korea is an example of a country Africa and indeed Nigeria should copy.
So if we go back to 1960s, the government started to develop the infrastructure to boom the economy. So it's like if we are thinking about the cause and result, infrastructure is the cause and then economic development is the result. So why they wanted to develop the infrastructure is that because they knew the importance of the like manufacturing and the export of their products, and this was the only way how Korea can survive at the time. So they would, so as you know, it's Korea. If we are thinking about the South Korea, we are saying that it's peninsula, but it's kind of island. So the only way we can export our products is through the shipments. So, and another problem for Korea at the time was that there were no good transportation system or logistics at the time. So if we are importing some products from Busan or from any other ports, they had to move these products to the like other cities like Incheon or like Seoul or Gyeonggi province. But at the time there were no highways, so this was the Korean government realized the problem of the infrastructure, and then they started to develop the infrastructure first, and then based on this infrastructure, the economy has been developed. Why Korea has been developed at this stage, and then Korea is influencing to the global economy, is that first of all, it's about the human resources and the technology, because Korea, we don't have any natural resources to export, and we don't have any natural resources to develop for ourselves. So the Korean government tried to make a strategy to develop the human capacity. So like almost every people who was born on 1970s or 1980s, they had chance to go to university, because at the time, if they want to study, they could go to university, enter to university. So from the university and even from the high school, they learned about the technology and also any other knowledges they can apply to the for their job and occupations. And the government and even the parents, they knew that human capacity development is one of the most important factor for the development. So even government and from the private sector, they try to develop the technology. So this is the second point, that's technology development. So from the government, they have the science and technology R&D, research and development fund, and they support the private sector and even the research institutes. And another important point for Korea is that there are called like public research institutes, even for the science and technology part, and even for the economic and social development. So I'm also from the public funded research institute, and there are many PhDs and master degree holders, and they are from after they study from abroad, they can come to those institutes, and then they can do research what they want. And even for the technology and engineering and science part, is very important, because government is funding to those institutions, and they can do some research what they want. And this is very deeply related to the government policy. So government set a policy based on the research results, and we are suggesting the policy recommendations to the government. We have to go to this way and this way, and this was very important for the Korea to have the competitiveness. Another point is that recently there are so many startups in Korea, and because we have some competitiveness in the digital sector and the Korean technology, there are so many startups from those sectors and even from the biotechnology. And one of the interesting points is that big companies such as Samsung and Hyundai, they are supporting those startups and they are collaborating with those startups. And then once the startups they develop the technology, then the big companies sometimes they purchase the technology or they utilize those technology with paying some warranty some money to those startups.
If you think about the food of Busan, definitely we have a great seafood because of the ocean. And also we have a pork soup. This is the local food we started eating during the Korean War. At that time, many people are hungry, so they have to making a big soup to share it. So I think the seafood and pork soup and Busan style cold noodle, this is the big three, the famous food.
지금 보시는 것이 바로 2030 엑스포 개최 후보지의 모습입니다. 북한 재개발 지역 전체를 포함하면 343만 제곱미터 면적으로 축구장 480개 넓이에 달합니다. 현재까지 진행된 복합문화지구 재개발을 통해 오페라하우스와 편의시설이 들어설 부지 조성과 도로, 공원 등의 공사가 완료된 상태이며 해당 구역은 엑스포 개최 시 무료로 운영됩니다. 이어서 앞으로 진행할 전시회장 조성 공사를 통해 광장, 녹지 등 친수공간을 비롯해 박람회장과 각종 지원시설을 건설할 계획입니다. 그렇다면 2030 부산 엑스포의 박람회장은 어떤 모습일까요? 박람회장의 전체적인 구조는 진입광장에서 전시 클러스터를 거쳐 주제관까지 자연스럽게 이어지는 동선으로 구성됩니다. 전시 공간은 참가자 전시관과 트랜스포메이션 스퀘어 두 가지로 구분됩니다. 참가자 전시관은 박람회를 대표하는 전시 공간으로 세 가지 유형의 파빌리온으로 제공되며 이 중 주요 상징시설인 한국관은 세계에 대전한 더 나은 미래를 향한 항해라는 박람회의 주제를 기록하고 보존합니다. 트랜스포메이션 스퀘어는 클러스터 내 참가자 전시관 사이에 위치하는 광장으로 참가자들에게 교류와 협력의 장이 될 것입니다. 2030 부산 엑스포를 대표하는 주요 상징시설들을 좀 더 살펴볼까요? 엑스포 빅데이터 사일로는 BI 100년의 역사를 담아 더 나은 미래를 위한 아카이브로 활용할 예정이며 ODA 기념관은 수원국에서 공여국이 된 대한민국이 공동번영의 뜻을 되새기고자 마련한 시설입니다. 그리고 세계평화관은 한국전쟁 발발 80주년을 기념해 민주, 자유, 평화, 인권 등의 인류 보편적 가치를 기리는 공간이 될 것입니다. 2030 부산 엑스포의 이벤트 공간에서는 다채롭고 풍성한 문화 프로그램이 진행됩니다. 특히 엑스포홀에서는 각 참가국의 국가의 날 공식 행사가 열립니다. 또한 박람회장 곳곳에는 플로팅 파크, 워터프론트, 인피니티 오션, 엑스포파크 등의 친수 공간이 마련되어 해양도시의 아름다움을 생성하고 박람회장 앞바다에서는 부산불꽃 축제가 화려하게 펼쳐질 것입니다. 그 밖에도 VIP 숙소인 엑스포 빌리지를 비롯해 다양한 상업, 편의시설과 행사지원시설까지 쾌적하고 편안하게 박람회를 즐길 수 있도록 효율적으로 배치했습니다. 대한민국 부산은 2030 부산 세계박람회를 위한 실천적 노력을 이미 시작했습니다. 이것은 생존을 위협받는 해안 지역의 기후난민을 위한 세계 최초의 해상도시입니다. 해수면 상승과 기후변화에 대한 해결책으로 UN 해비타트와 같이 추진 중인 이 미래도시 모델은 자연, 기술, 인간이 조화를 이루는 지속 가능한 세상에 대한 우리의 의지를 표현합니다.
Because many people only think about like a Korean barbecue or Korean fried chicken, but that's not just about Korean food. We have a lot of more interesting food that is not introduced to the world. So once you come to Korea, you will find more interesting delicacies and other interesting part of Korea. So I think if you come to Korea come to Busan for Expo, I think it's like a killing two birds with one stone. You not only can enjoy the Expo, you can also enjoy the Korean culture in general too.
We are in Busan now. There's so many natural places in Busan. We are at the ocean, and now we are at the eco-friendly park. What is so special that you're asking the entire world to come visit again Busan?
Well, because actually, Busan started with like a trade port, it was famous for like industrialization. But now we are thinking about all the sustainability and eco-friendliness, right, for the future. So, but Busan is also realizing how important it is. So they try to embrace the big ideas too. So it's a good example. So it is not only beautiful, you can just enjoy, also like a very fitting for the future of the humanity, So when you come to Busan, when you see these beautiful things, you can realize how important nature, the art is to us too.
prize! What are you doing? Get up! Do you think people won't know that it's all because of your dad? The Foundation's chair gave bribes to get you that grand prize!
The price of love is paid with tears. Televisa presents The Rich Also Cry. She is a simple young woman who, by coincidence, would be confronted with a world she never imagined existed.
Mister, what happened? Answer me!
He is a troubled young man who is struggling to find his place.
Things have changed. They're no longer the same when you were younger. The change that you're proposing won't be done, period. Who are you?
Two people coming from different worlds will realize that sometimes finding love can take a lot of tears. The price of love and happiness can never be bought with money. It can only be paid with tears.
Time travel. When humanity's biggest dream came true, so did its worst nightmare. Those who travel to the past to steal relics have also taken away bits of our precious history. Who can stop them? Who can protect our history from disappearing forever?
Why, me, of course. The most extraordinary adventures. The most dangerous tracks. The most complicated puzzles. The most concealed secrets. Don't stand a chance in front of the Relic's Guardian. Now let's write history together.
We present to you something different and unique that is capable of healing your heart.
Here we go!
My radio show on Tuesdays. Wednesday's variety show. Old school music on the Throwback Thursday. Friday weekend starter, setting up the mood for your groovy weekend. AIT Music to the world.
Hi, this is A New Nigeria with Wale Oluwade. This is your current affairs program where we critically examine the strategic issues bedeviling Nigeria's developmental aspirations and boldly offer simple, practical, but audacious ideas on building the Nigeria of our collective desires. Today's episode is a continuation of what I started 4 weeks ago, where I identified 3 strategic issues. In my opinion, I believe if we can get right, we would have begun, the march to genuine rebuilding of our nation. These 3 strategic issues are job creation and poverty eradication, and then how we manage our crude oil resources, and number 3, power, that's power availability and sufficiency. So last week I began dealing with the issue of managing our crude oil resources for better efficiency. So this is the second part and final part of that presentation. We'll take this short break, and when I get back, we'll continue with that presentation. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now, let's get right into the presentation in this second part. So, in the first part, I've done a thorough analysis of how other nations that have crude oil resources, and even those who do not have, like Nigeria, have built massive funds under management in their sovereign wealth fund, and how Nigeria so far only has got 2 billion in our own sovereign wealth funds. Now, this is a practical example because, like I said, also it's not just that we have thoroughly mismanaged our crude oil revenues. You know, in addition to that, you now have some of our compatriots in collusion, you know, with foreign collaborators going to pipelines and vandalizing the pipelines, you know, cutting away this crude, you know, to sell, and thereby robbing Nigeria, you know, of huge sums of money. But I needed to show this slide so that you see an example of how, you know, the mismanagement of that sector has robbed Nigeria, you know, in a massive, you know, way. So this is a practical example. The following statistics is the breakdown of revenues earned by Nigeria from the years 2015 to 2019. Remember, Nigeria has been exporting and generating revenues from crude oil resources since 1958. That is 65 years. Every day we export crude oil. That is 65 years and counting. So for just 5 years, 2015 to 2019, you know, this is a statistics of what we earned. And this statistics is sourced from the OPEC Annual Statistical Bulletin 2020 and also reported locally by Premium Times in its July 14th, 2020 edition. So in the year 2015, Nigeria got $41 billion. In 2016, we got $27.29 billion. In 2017, we got $37.98 billion. 2018, we got $54.51 billion. And 2019, we got $45.11 billion. The total of these earnings in 5 years amounts to a whopping $206.06 billion US dollars in just 5 years. Now, this total revenue receipts of $206.06 billion, when converted to naira, using the prevailing official rates at the period, that is 450 to a dollar, 450 naira to a dollar, translates to 92.78 trillion naira. If we convert this $206 billion to naira, it gives us 92.78 trillion naira. That is what we got in 5 years. So, yet the greatest and painful paradox of this is that regardless of these huge revenues, in the same years our petroleum products imports amounted to 265 billion. So while we earned the huge revenues, it didn't benefit us because we couldn't refine our crude oil locally. What does this mean? While we received 206 billion or 92.78 trillion naira in 5 years, guess what we did? Rather than that money coming into our economy to build, you know, our